could it be, man? It has to be these top teams. Yeah, Trinity have had their stint, but it's still BMG Zinc now, and I'm looking forward to it. The two best teams in Hon right now, the two big sort of legendary teams. Everybody knows them. And man, I'm just looking forward to the draft and looking forward to the game. Whew, can't believe we made it.
I know. It's like
good.
It's like I said, it's been quite the ride, but we have made it again. Just really crossing the fingers, and hopefully we're going to be good to go to just going through this and zero interruptions, or at least minimal in the end. But anyways, enough about that. We got a game to talk about here, and of course early on in the draft, but still a draft to talk about. So the initial bans. Parasite, Keeper of the Forest, Ophelia, and Swiftblade coming out. Cthulhu Font first pick up there for BMG. You got Tempest Response into the Kraken pickup now coming out for Bad Monkey Gaming. So they're going to get their hands on Cthulhu Font, though. And now, again, we kind of saw this yesterday. And that was the Silhouette game, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, where Super KGE actually played the Cthulhu Font. In that game. They had Haxorun actually on Kraken. And they had Simi on Silhouette. Go figure. They get 3 heroes here.
Exactly, and we saw the last series, what kind of damage Silhouette can do. Maybe Zibe was watching that, and they should keep the split push on the table, because I mean already Zinc have got some good team fight heroes. They've got Tempest, they've got Magnus, and there could be a potential that BMG there's times where they just can't simply team fight, so they might have to resort to sort of split pushing with Silhouette. But that being said, obviously it was Zinc who sort of started implementing that split push potential, so they'll know how to deal with it. And I mean it would be surprising if they start picking up the heroes that can definitely work against Silhouette and its split pushing potential. One of them actually is Pebbles and Magnus, because obviously if Silhouette does pick up a null stone, then the ground stuns can still work, and if she's not quick enough, then she won't be able to actually obviously swap out. And obviously the same with the Tempest Elemental Void as well. So already Zinc are sort of putting in those countermeasures to make sure that Zibe doesn't have that big of an impact in terms of the split pushing potential. But the first banner here, actually, Dr. Repulsor, and man, we're flying through these bans, man, and Vindicator, big point there.
Yeah, taken out right there. Now, again, it's worth noting the start that Silhouette had, again, being played by Zibe in that, what was the game number 2 of that series yesterday, and ultimately helped lead them to victory in the series. He got off to a fantastic start because of an early, he had 3 or 4 early kills. Remember, that was a suicide kinesis from Keizu. So, keeping that in mind, so at the same time, I'm sure Sync's like, okay, they're realizing, yes, this did not do, we're already in trouble because of, obviously, what happened yesterday. But at the same time, just don't have that happen again at the bottom lane, especially going up against them in the matchup, and who knows how it could be different. So I'm sure that that's what they're going to be, they're banking on here. In the end. I
mean, I think we're going to see a Suicide Magnus. I mean, we saw it the last 2 times, and it's worked perfectly for Zinc, actually. It sort of fit their early aggression playstyle, and it's given them that sort of early game tempo and control that they really have needed to actually sort of progress and take those early game objectives like the tier 1s, and to sort of regain that kind of map control. I mean, the last time, obviously, like you were saying with the Silhouette, he did get kind of farmed because he was getting a lot of kills from Keizu, but also if you remember, it was the initial sort of Nova strat where they run the support in the long lane to try and pick off the sort of support from BMG that might overextend to try and harass Keizu out. We probably won't see that here, but already the 3 core heroes are picked up from Zinc, so we'll have to see a carry and a support from them. And actually, Empath and Glacius, as well as Rhapsody, have been banned out. Torture is still on the board. I'd expect that to be picked up from Zinc, but at the same time, BMG need their own the support, but they actually pick up Flux, actually, so wow. A lot of tanky heroes.
So that's going to be a jungle Cthulhu Font then?
Yeah, most likely.
Okay. Yeah, now I mean, it seems like Cthulhu Font's kind of been a mix, honestly. When we first talked about him and the idea that he was being banned, it seems like the Suicide Cthulhu Font was the dangerous thing, but we have obviously seen the jungle Cthulhu Font also work in performances as well. So yeah, making a conscious decision there to definitely make a jungle Cthulhu Font happen with that Flux pickup. Obviously the Flux Kraken synergy. Are they going to go NG to finish it? Okay, I was going to say
yeah.
That would have been a good option, but I think Sync kind of realized that as well.
And to me, I mean, the reason why they picked up Flux here 4th was because they must have thought that Zinc were going to pick up themselves. And I mean, because there's no reason why you'd pick up Flux when there was such a limited sort of support in the hero pool. Sure. They picked up Flux here. I mean, they could have picked up Engineer, and I mean, I don't know how Zinc would have really been able to run Flux. They would have had to run Flensmeister on the carry Flux, which can definitely work. We have seen Mickey sort of carry with Flux before, and it does work. But I mean, it just doesn't feel that it's a Flensmeister kind of hero. But in the end, they do pick up the Flux here, and the only kind of support here I think for BMG has to be the Torturer, and so you could arguably have made that the Engineer should have been picked up and then the Flux, but at the end of the day, that's how Tankfit has been running it. So they're going to have to pick up their support hero here. I said before, Torturer is on the board. It would fit in their strategy unless they want to pick up something different. And there's the different, man. Cthulhu Demented Shaman, man. That's an old school combo, man.
That is, but again, that's not going to be a laning Cthulhu. So as far as that impact, I mean, it's not necessarily going to be happening. But throughout the game, of course, that potential is definitely there. But, you know, that can't be the only reason. It's not like they're like, oh, he goes well with Cthulhu because of the charge and the heal bomb. I mean, I don't think they would do that. So
no.
Something else, there must be something else to it. I mean, the Storm Cloud, obviously the reduction in armor will be great for Silhouette and Kraken for that matter. A lot of physical presence. I mean, Demented Shaman, anyone that knows me, I mean, I've always said that this is actually my favorite hero to play. I mean, for the longest time, ever since I joined Heroes of New Earth, even back to Dota, Shadow Priest was my favorite, so obviously that translated. So, Demented Shaman, I really, really enjoy. I enjoy it more, even prefer to play in more of the farming role. I know we saw Swinomelons do that every now and then for Stay Green, but at the same time, as a main support, I am a little skeptical on, honestly. But
yeah, I mean, I think your skepticism is quite right though, because it does need a lot of early levels, and it does need that early farm to be really useful. The reason why we see a lot of the same supports is because normally we always have a jungle meta, so we're always going to see a jungler, and those sort of select few supports are only kind of good because they only need these early levels to really be viable, like, you know, your Empath, like your Glacius, like your Rhapsodies. They don't need a lot of levels to be useful, whereas, you know, Demented Shaman, he kind of does need those early levels to be useful, but the reason why we're still seeing him here is because there is a lot of burst potential here from Zinc, and one thing that we don't see too much actually is sort of sustainability and sort of anti-burst that really Demented Shaman does bring. Obviously, he has the Unbreakable and has the heal, which both have quite low cooldowns. So, you know, the burst potential and the catch potential from like Mickey's Pebbles and Magmus on K2 can be quite useful.
I got it, but yeah, I got to bring this up before we get too much into it. But look at who's playing what. Tankafet's actually playing the Flux here. Cthulhu being played by Super KG, I'm honestly at a loss at what we should expect to see here. I guess Super KG is just going to be a jungler as well, but I mean, usually, obviously, Tankafet is their jungler.
Yeah. Unless they're going to do second support Flux, which is not out of the question, actually.
That's true. Okay, so they could just do more of a laning Cthulhu and just secondary support, like how the lane set up then, if that's the case.
Because, I mean, if you think about it, Zinc have quite an aggressive, sort of greedy lineup. They've got Revenant that doesn't offer too much in terms of their laning phase, and obviously they've got Tempest as well. The only heroes that really do offer something is the Engineer, Magmus, and Pebbles, and you can't really have those kind of sort of cores really be involved in the early rotations, particularly, you know, before 5 minutes, because they're not going to get any farms. So BMG, they're going to try and get aggressive, and they might even run some kind of funky tri-lane with Cthulhu and Demented Shaman. And we said that, you know, Demented Shaman is good with Cthulhu, but only if they're in the lane, and we assumed that Cthulhu was going to be jungling, but doesn't seem to be the case here.
KZU playing a lot of Magmus today. If I'm not mistaken, he played both Magmus in both the games against Don, and here he is, his third game in a row playing Magmus. Obviously here against BMG. So yeah, he's on that Suicide Magmus right here, and as his stats show, you know, BMG happens to be their worst hero they go against as far as numbers-wise. But yeah, look at this. I mean, it is going to be somewhat of an aggressive tri-lane. How about that? Coming out here from BMG. I mean, we talk about innovation, man. I mean, not often. You would never expect to see a secondary support Flux, honestly. But that's exactly what they're going to do right here. So, look at that, getting some love. I never get some love.
No.
Just a lucky guy. By the way, Revenant, the final pick, of course, for Sync. He is being played by Flensmeister, as we see here at the top lane. Right off the bat, trample does hit. And actually, Revenant is going to be in trouble right here. Heal wave coming on top, but no, he put the invis on. He gets it first as a just-in-case, more reaction, and he gets away. So, I mean, you see the potential right there of the Cthulhu. Are they just going to mass push this? Is that what they're going for in the end? I mean,
they should have a Ring of the Teacher, and it can work because, I mean, there is no way that, you know, Zinc can actually rotate over the Magmus or the Pebbles because they need that. And actually, there's another stun actually onto Flensmeister. So he only has 1 second left on Invis, so he should be fine. But yeah, I mean, if they're going to start pushing them, they need the Ring of the Teacher either from Cthulhu or actually, whoa, Flensmeister's dropping very low, but does pop the Invis in the end.
So, but yeah, the Ring of the Teacher, I mean, no Guardian Ring picked up, so I wonder if that just kind of transitioned into that because of how the lane was looking right there, or if this is their, I mean, the tower's already at 770 life after the first creep wave, so...
Yeah, I mean, and look at like, Zlap, like, he's been forced to sort of have some kind of laning presence because he can't really allow BMG to have this great of a good start, and they're pulling the sort of the lane here as well, so, and they are just sort of sort of auto-attacking the wave as well, so they're going to try and push this eventually, but they definitely do need a Ring of the Teacher. But I mean, as you can see, there's no way that really Zinc can really rotate outside of maybe Magnus, but he's getting quite decent farm, so it's like, do you really want to risk losing the farm just to have some kind of presence here into the top lane? And it's a decision that Zinc are going to have to make. At the moment, it looks like that they'd prefer the farm, because if Magnus does rotate over, the level 1 Lava Surge isn't much, and you want to have that early portal key on Mickey. So at the time being, they're going to try and sort of survive here with Flynn's Maestro in the top lane, just soak up some experience and have focus on the other lanes and try and get as much farm as possible. But here comes Flux, and he rotated over to the middle lane, so...
Flux Kraken lane. I mean, now it looks like he's going to keep moving, in fact, and he might end up more in the bottom side. Possible rune controls. The bottom. Oh yeah, the bottom rune is still there. It's only an illusion rune, unfortunately. So not going to be able to make the biggest use. Hell, if that was a haste rune, that could have definitely. There's a haste rune. This Magnus would be dead right here. So
yeah,
that's unfortunate in his sake. But at the same time, good rune control coming out. And he's going to babysit Silhouette, I guess. That's what that's going to be.
And I mean, it can work though, because obviously he's a ranged hero, he has good harassing potential, and at the same time, he doesn't always need that, the big sort of items and sort of core sort of farm, because he's quite tanky initially in that respect, because obviously he's a strength hero, but he's still ranged, so he doesn't need all that farm to really be useful in the team fights. Obviously, it's all about his ultimate discharge, so if he can get that off, then he's still useful, even as a support. But just going back to the draft a little bit, though, if you sort of see of BMG, they've gone quite heavy in terms of their actual... Oh man, there's a lot of crazy pause and unpausing, but just going back to the draft though of BMG, if you look at it though, there's a lot of tanky presence here for BMG. They've got 3 heavy tank heroes here, Kraken, Cthulhu, and Flux, and that at the same time they're being supported here by Demented Shaman as well, so even more sort of tanky presence here. And if you look at Zinc, they've got a lot of early burst, and sort of their spells is what the most of the damage. Yeah, obviously Revenant can rotate and sort of a hard carry, but outside of early mid-game presence, they don't have too much of a late-game presence compared to, say, BMG, and I really do like this. I mean, it's not out-and-out innovation as what we saw in the last series with, the second support, or sorry, second jungle Parasite, but it's still kind of innovation because, if they can survive the burst from Zinc, then they can eventually start winning these team fights if the team fights last 15 to 20 seconds instead of sort of 5 to 10, which Zinc would prefer. So I really do like the draft from BMG. It's just how they're going to sort of play it in the early game, because if they lose the early game, then they might be in a little bit of trouble.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's actually somebody reiterating in chat. I kind of didn't even think about that. But Demented Shaman has been used only once before, and it wasn't a losing effort in the end. So, again, he's definitely one of those kind of niche heroes that ideally more of a push kind of lineup, something like a synergy with say, like a Cthulhu in this case, or even like a Zephyr, of course. Gust into the Creep Wave, we've seen that combo. So, there's some fun ones there. Of course, Balfagor is another example. So, but, yeah, I've only actually seen him once before here in Hunters Season 3 so far in the Diamond Division. So that's definitely worth reiterating, too. Coming out here, again, speaking of that innovation for BMG. So, yeah, unfortunately, KZU maybe missing a little bit of experience there because of the DC, but hey, it happens, and going to be ready and good to go here and resume on with what is game number 1. Again, and yes, technically game number 1, guys. BMG up 1-0 as a result of coming from the winner's bracket, as it always works. So, you do see let's look across the board at some farm overall. I mean, Silhouette, as you would expect, having a very good time, 18-4 down here at the bottom line. Going to continue to go up and up, but so is Mickey on Pebbles. Not too surprising there either. 23-3, 367 go per minute here for Mickey on the Pebbles. You see Kraken, Haxerin, again, played this yesterday in that Game 2 victory that they had against Sync Esports. Not typical, but doing it here once again and getting some good positioning. But actually, Magnus actually coming in with a flank right here. As I say this, so Kraken needs to be really careful, and I don't know if he's going to be able to react to this in time. I mean, he has no clue, obviously, Magnus is nearby. It's just a matter of presence of mind, knowing that he's missing, and in fact, there we go, and actually, yeah, he falls back. Went for the attempt, but a no-go, so KZU, unfortunately, unable.
I mean, the overall strategy... Oh, top lane.
Yeah, holy crap, Dust comes down, that's a dead Revenant. I happened to catch that right as he charged in. That heal bomb, man, level 2 heal bomb. With that creep wave, it's ridiculous how much damage it does.
And I mentioned it a little bit before, but like, you see Zlap, he's having to sort of lane here up here because the presence here from the Cthulhu and Demented Shaman is just too much. Like, he hasn't been able to sort of AFK farm the jungle. Although here comes Pebbles and Engineer, though. They're going to try and get some kind of return kills, but Super KG looks like he's going to get away, but Demented Shaman might not be so lucky.
Yeah, I mean, can Super KG do enough? Stalagmites miss right there, actually. That could be the absolute difference maker. He does have a heal to use. Can't get it off, though. He also had Unbreakable, but he couldn't even get that off. Even with missing the Stalagmites, the lockdown proves to be too much. So, yeah, almost there, but not enough. And actually, they're just going to make an outright rotation. Yeah, Pebbles and Engineer just going to stay up top here. I mean, I guess that makes sense, right?
It makes sense. Yeah, it definitely makes sense because, like, Kofino is getting really aggressive, but I guess he can be because of that hooking. But yeah, I mean, the lane rotation makes sense because the Demented Shaman Cthulhu was just too much for the Revenant to handle. They've picked up the dust now. Revenant doesn't have any kind of escape mechanism, and at the same time, if they have Pebbles and Engineer up here, they can combo with Tempest so much better than what the Revenant can do in the short lane. They're going to push Cthulhu out, and at the same time, sort of protect their tier 1. So I really do like the rotation. At the same time, so you're still going to secure farm on the Pebbles, which, as I've mentioned time and time again, is the most important thing because you want to get the early farm on your initiators to really snowball and have that good mid game. So I do like the lane rotation here coming out from Zinc.
It's almost like BMG kind of rotated themselves. I don't know what's happened to be a coincidence, but Dimension Shaman ends up middle lane. They were trying to gank Revenant in the middle, so it almost seems like, further to that their goal here is to just really lock down Flensmeister on Revenant. Don't want to let that get a little bit out of control. 6-minute rune is going to be regen, actually picked up by Revenant right in front of Dimension Shaman as he happened to be Invis going over to it, so obviously not much support could have done right there, so well played by Flensmeister. But yeah, Demented Shaman, he's actually going to head back towards the middle and now be more of a babysit for the Kraken here. Flux going out with Magnus, but Magnus is going to be fine. But this does mean Silhouette, of course, is having the free farm bottom. But man, look at Pebbles after the transition. Obviously, he's also working off the Bloodlust kill, or excuse me, a kill, I should say, that he got at the top lane. And that's why his GPM is so high, 380 gold per minute here.
I mean, an interesting thing to actually remember, though, is that, I mean, obviously, getting your portal kill on your own initiator is incredibly important because you can really, dictate the tempo of the game. But if you think about it, though, the only two targets that for Pebbles are viable is the Demented Shaman and the Silhouette. Kraken, Cthulhu, and Flux are all too tanky for him to actually get involved and start roaming when he picks up that portal key. And it's something to be noted. If Demented Shaman actually sort of sits behind Silhouette while she's farming, she can, save Silhouette even if Pebbles does jump in because of the Unbreakable and the healing wave. So, I mean, normally every single Pebble game is perfect because you can get so many kills when he picks up that early portal key. But in this game, I don't think it's going to be as big of an impact, honestly, Breaky. Yeah,
I mean, Demented Shaman, again, a very ideal hero to have. Maybe him in like a Jerizai and a Curse, those kind of heroes are good for if they can react in time, of course, to set up that turn potential. Master of Arms, when we saw Master of Arms quite a bit, that global presence really made the Pebble ganks a lot weaker because of that mitigation. So kind of the similar ideas, definitely, where you're getting at there. That makes sense.
Exactly.
So, Revenant does manage to get level 6. I mean, so his levels actually are pretty decent here, despite his struggling start.
I mean, that's all you kind of need on Revenant as well. Obviously, he's going to be sort of the late game carry here for Zinc, so you would want to get him some eventual farm. But it is quite early in the game. But top lane, here comes the rotation from Magnus.
Here we go. It's like right on cue. Clockwork once again. Stalagmites misses, and so does the Lava Surge. Not typical Zinc Esports right there. You got to give credit to Super KG, though. Yeah, the side steps were real. The Ghost Marchers coming in. A little bit of the taunt there at the end comes out from Super KG. So, yeah, well played on his part. And, I mean, that's pretty big because that delayed a lot right there. All that commitment, 4 heroes being there, ends up getting no kill.
I mean, if Cthulhu dies there, that's going to be an easy tier 1 tower. Obviously, it closes in on Portal Key on Pebbles and starts the snowball here from Zinc. If you think about it, they don't have the greatest late game potential, so it's very, very important that they get their core items and they start team fighting before BMG get too scary. They've obviously got the Silhouette and they've got all this sort of tanky presence that are going to be quite effective against the AoE lineup here from Zinc. I mean, if you think about it, though, when the Eruption comes out, once the Engineer and Electric Field comes out, and obviously the Thames Ultimate as well, like BMG sort of tanky core here are still going to be able to get through outside of the Silhouette. It's actually top lane though.
Good to the fun this time. They're not going to miss. The turret will not be the best place, but it travels away. It's going to be fine in the end. That's going to be so frustrating for this combo. Now, the biggest difference, the absolute difference maker was that when he got shucked, actually, he went just to the side of the turret as the turret was coming out from Insania. And so 0 damage happened from the turret as a result of how low he was. That very likely would have been a kill. So, yeah, a little bit of just miscommunication there, a little bit of misplay, you can definitely call it, especially at this top tier level. And in the meantime, Silhouette pushes bottom tower. I mean, if you're not gonna, if you're gonna be able to dodge opportunities like that, then you got to be feeling pretty good if you're BMG here.
Definitely, and seeing as they took the first Tier 1 tower when they don't really have the greatest sort of pushing potential outside of Demented Shaman, that's a big deal, and it all goes back to the initial sort of attempt to kill on Cthulhu in the top lane. If he dies, then the Tier 1 goes down, and then they can start rotating and looking for the other objectives, but 2 failed ganks on Cthulhu have honestly snowballed BMG into sort of that 2,000 gold lead, and although it's not a lot, it's definitely a good start, and where they need to be if they want to sort of take this game 1 in the Grand Finals break here.
Now, I'm intrigued to really see Zibby's playstyle on the Silhouette. You know, it's one thing to just play it very well, like, again, he did yesterday in that Game 2 against Sync, and ultimately helped lead to a victory. And, you know, like we've been seeing on Silhouette play, it's just fun to watch. Kind of hear that it's very mobile, moving around, constantly being annoying. But, again, looking back at the last series, Flensmeister showed a next level even of the potential of what she can do. So I'm excited to see if Zibby does that now at the bottom lane. Flux is nearby. That could be the deterrent here to make it open happen. I mean, Revenant, yeah, he just came out of the invis. He actually puts a ward of sight down. So Flensmeister playing somewhat of a support here in a sense. And actually is going to stay here for the time being. Maybe they're going to get another TP. Back to the top lane again. Cthulhu, he tramples away. This time it wasn't as close, but still tramples away before anything dangerous happens. I got to think Flensmeister's waiting for another TP in here. Maybe something like that Pebbles or...
He's got portal key as well.
Oh,
so
wow,
he can actually rotate in, yeah.
Oh,
so
Pebbles got portal key. Wait, who?
No, so does Silhouette. Silhouette does.
Silhouette. Okay, yeah, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
Flux is going to be caught on Silhouette off to the side. Is she going to do anything? She's kind of just chilling there. She finally jumps in on Kazu. Going to go for the return kill, but a nice disjoint on the auto attacks. TPs are coming in, and Silhouette will be forced to fall back. And I got to think Zibby was looking somewhere else. I mean, his reaction right there was way delayed compared to what you would expect.
Oh, here comes Kraken, though.
But yeah, Kraken going to be coming in. And Revenant, this should be a free kill pending a big miss. No, he's not going to miss that one. Release the Kraken, guarantee it. Maybe. He's in Blades. He's in Blades. The Blades. Maybe throw them. Oh,
nah,
my gosh.
Wow.
He charged him too far. I mean, the Release the Kraken placement was actually a little bit off. He didn't actually get stunned by it.
Yeah, and actually now Sync are pushing top, but they're going to try and force some kind of rotation with a Cthulhu. But again, though, you're seeing the early portal key pick up from Silhouette really sort of having an issue because he doesn't have any kind of mana regeneration. He hasn't gone the Nullstone first, and obviously with 75 mana every single time they use the portal key, obviously he's got to use the tree grapple and the death flows. There's a lot of mana being used here from Silhouette, and he has no way of really sort of sustaining it. He's always going to be at low mana without any kind of mana regeneration, so I really kind of disagree with this early portal key pickup because at the moment he's just farming neutrals and portal key is going to do nothing for you there. So. Yeah. Have to admit, really don't like it, but he's going to get a bottled regen room, so incredibly lucky there. But still, he can't obviously hope to get a bottle of regen room every single time.
So yeah, what do you say? I mean, just get a regen room, you're fine, right? I mean, that's all you need. So, yeah, it's a little bit lucky right there, but. I mean, getting that regen rune could be the difference maker because now he's back to full mana, full life. Obviously, he's going to come back to the bottom lane. That'll allow him to do so a little more willingly.
Look at this bait.
And yeah, he's trying to bait out with the illusion right here. We'll see if Magnus maybe falls. If we are going to see a TP coming in from Pebbles. They're going to bait it. Yep, there we go. He just runs away. He just watches them as they're killing the illusion that was hers. Oh, that was well played by Zibby there.
That's so big, though. Not only obviously they bait the eruption, but they now know that Pebbles has the portal key, and so that's going to give alarm signals to everyone on BMG now to play a little bit less or a little bit more defensive. But here comes the Revenant gank, though. They're going to actually look for Demented Shaman, and this will be the perfect target, and he looks like he's going to be dead.
That would be ideal. And, you know, with that said, as he does get picked off, I feel like Support's just been grinding this middle lane here by himself for a little bit. He actually pushed the middle tower. He was the only one there. No one from either side other than him happened to be there, and he actually ended up taking it out. So Support's kind of been doing its own thing there in the middle, and but obviously does get picked up there. Good rotation. That again, bringing the power of Revenant, and as we've seen before, especially in the hands of Flensmeister, using that Essence Shroud, the smoke gank in the turn that we constantly refer back to. He has level 2 of the ultimate, so he's able to apply that on somebody else now as well. Top lane, definitely action. Keck's done. Yes, it is going to be in time. Now, can he still escape somehow? Not this time, says the team of Sync. They're, I guess, the third time's a charm in a sense. And they take out Cthulhu. So,
yeah, and I'm honestly a little bit disappointed with BMG. They obviously saw the portal key pick up from Pebbles in the bottom lane. First off, Support was sort of AFK farming the middle lane, which honestly, once Pebbles has a portal key, you have to play incredibly differently. Actually, middle lane, charge just about missed, so Revenant is going to be fine. He has Haster anyway. But yeah, once Pebbles has a portal key, your squishy sort of heroes have to go into the jungle and not show yourself on lanes, because obviously that can happen. And then top lane, they try and get a little bit aggressive with Kraken and Cthulhu, whilst Pebbles is still on his portal key. It's middle lane, they're going in again.
Yep, Mortification, man. See, that is the problem with Mortification. Or, excuse me, wow, not Mortification. That's the problem with Unbreakable, is what I meant to say. By Dimension Shaman right there, the travel. It's like, that's the most frustrating thing as a DS player, how you throw out your cape and it feels like it takes 5 seconds to get to them, especially in situations like that.
To be fair though, he should have healed first. You always heal, then you cape, because you don't want to. You want to get the heal first, and then the utilization of the cape. And actually, middle lane again.
It's just rinse and repeat, man. Mickey's just going off the charts here. Yeah.
That's like 3 kills after his portal key in the space of a couple of minutes, and honestly, like, you would expect BMG to play a little bit differently after the portal key on Pebbles has been picked up, and they've just been playing the same way, and at the moment they are being punished. But here comes another gank, actually. He's going to get spotted out by the Red Ward, though, although Super KG might be in trouble.
Well, he has team support coming in, actually, so I think Sync might be the one in trouble if they commit to this. They are going to commit to it. Cthulhu, he is tanking. The armor comes out. Here comes the release. The Kraken Kexon is hit. The energy field on top of them, but look at Sync. They're melting. Revenant and Pebbles go down. Engineer trying to stay alive. They got the elephant, but at what cost here? Magnus stuns in. He gets a turn kill on a Kraken. It's still going, though. Silhouette joining the party. She's putting in the auto attacks now. You do see the following up with Dimension Shaman as well. Silhouette actually jumps into Engineer, gets the guaranteed kill, and they're fine with the rest. Tempest actually comes in an ultimate. He actually is going to cast it right there with that new portal key of his. Pebbles throws into Dimension Shaman. What a perfect combo. The Wombo combo coming out. Quad kill for Keizu. Fantastic play as a team right there. And Mickey, I mean, that was just a hell of a play by Mickey as well to make it so beautiful in the end.
Yeah, man, Zinc have came to play in this grand finals, and I mean another thing that Insania did sort of say to me, like I said in the previous series, that kind of each sort of draft and each lineup and strategy is kind of revolved around one hero, and in this case it is Mickey. They've focused as much sort of farm on him as possible. They put him in the short lane, and then you've got Revenant kind of playing like a support kind of role. So you have Flensmeister as sort of the hard carry for the team, and but in this strategy he isn't really being sort of prioritised in terms of farming. It's all about snowballing and giving Mickey the opportunity to get as many kills as possible, and you've seen it. Revenant's been following Pebbles around, giving him the invis when needed, and then obviously supporting him as much as possible to really have that snowball factor, and he has been having it. Look at him, 4-1 and 6, and he's 420 GPM, and it's working perfectly. Zinc have just been sort of firing on all cylinders here, and BMG, they do need to sort of change up a little bit of their strategy if they're not going to be outgunned. Actually, bottom lane though.
Yeah, more jumps happening this time on Engineer. Pebbles is coming in, couldn't get there in time though, but they still might go in. With that said, Revenant looking for an opportunity. They do find Flux again. That's a secondary support Flux, so he's not as tanky as he usually would be. He goes down off the bat. Stormcloud comes in, though, and Silhouette is here, putting in the damage. Here comes Magnus, though, with the stun, trying to at least save the day on the Pebbles. He is invis. Dust comes out, so he is now exposed. Kraken, nice combo once again from Mickey. Not enough for the kill, though, and he's going to be pulled back in by the release Kraken, but he's on the outskirts. He's going to be fine. Mortification being applied once again by Revenant. Eruption comes off, and there's the stun, and down goes Silhouette. Cut through the fall lockdown. He's going to end up falling, and Dimension Shaman, is he going to actually hide right here? He is, but the poor man's portal key to finish off Haxer, and I tell you, what GG's already being called. I mean, I guess I shouldn't be too surprised, but I mean, wow.
Sync just kicked it in time.
No, Sync didn't. Mickey did. But I mean, I guess Revenant though, yeah, Revenant's impact was huge as well, and obviously Keizu did a good job of cleaning up. So okay, they are. I was gonna say it felt a little early, yeah. And this is gonna lose TS. Oh boy.
Choo choo, motherfucker.
How appropriate.
But yeah, though, honestly, though, like, Mickey has just been playing on fire, but at the same time, it is still down to the strategy of Zinc, though. Obviously, they had the Revenant. I mean, he had a terrible time at the start, but they've just been getting their farm through the sort of the ganks and the sort of strategy that Zinc have been doing. However, though, there is a comeback potential here from BMG. They obviously have, the better late game potential, because at the moment, it's only Revenant in terms of the super late game carry. Whereas, obviously, for BMG, they've got the Silhouette, the harder late game carry, but also, they've got some good tanky presence, and yes, obviously Zinc, they're looking incredibly scary because of what they've been doing, but the burst potential is going to die off actually. Flux is most likely getting dropping here as well actually.
Yeah, he's just trying to run and maybe get the escape. Mickey's like, yeah, you ain't going nowhere. I'm 6-1 and 8 now. 440 gold per minute is Pebbles. So, yeah, the reason why I'll say that it definitely felt like it's a little preempted because, I mean, you still got a Silhouette who's farming 240 gold per minute. They get a pick up at the bottom lane onto that Revenant here. And Sync's lineup is no doubt, it's a very early aggressive team. That's the whole idea of the lineup, 100%. So the fact that they are executing it very well and have this early lead is, you know, I'm not saying that it should just absolutely happen, but, you know, it does mean that a little more for BMG that, okay, let's grind this out at least and see about a possible comeback here.
And at the same time, BMG still have a good potential to come back in the game. Yeah, they are far behind, but that's kind of the strategy, as you stated, from Zinc. I mean, it's not like they have the crazy hard carry, you know, that's farming out of the brains. You know, it's all about the team fight and the gank potential that they've been getting off time and time again. Yes, BMG might be a little bit disheartened, but there is ways to get back into this game. And one of it is just to really slow down the game as much as possible. Try and get the null stone on Silhouette. Try and beef up and be able to sort of tank through the burst potential of Zinc, because once you can really get over the initial couple of seconds of initiation or the middle lane.
Yeah, Flux got jumped initially. You do see Kraken coming in. He also gets done. The trick up in the background. Engineer looking to be picked up, but it's not enough. The Thames element comes out. Now that's the illusion Silhouette. The real Silhouette gets chucked in though, and she ends up falling down. Breakable's applied to the illusion. Oh god, it's just the coordination not at its finest here. Buyback though coming out from Silhouette and looking at least clean up. They got Tempest, they got Engineer, a couple low players, but as soon as Silhouette jumps in, she melts right there. The mortification's too much, man. On top of the amped magic damage that Pebbles and Magnus are throwing out here especially. Down goes Kraken, double tap from Mickey, and now I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, in fact, there we go with the CC vote at least coming out, and this time I think it is going to be true and for much better reason. I mean, they might actually get a kill. No, it doesn't matter anyways. The vote does go through, and Sync does take officially the first game. So, I mean, that's the thing. If you are BMG, you came in up 1-0, so in a sense kind of had a free game. Okay, if anything, now it's just reset to a straight-up best of the three is the best way to look at it. So, you know, what's done is done there, but Sync, man, boy, did they turn it on.
Oh, my God.
And it just did not stop.
Insane, and that was just a complete steam train. I mean, what it was, I mean, I've mentioned it before, but inertia and tempo are actually legit things in terms of Hon. You saw at the start, Zinc were sort of slow to get started, but once they got that ball rolling, it was kill after kill after kill. There was no way that BMG could slow the game down and try and build up farm, because Zinc weren't going to let them. They had the good team fight, they had the core items, and BMG just weren't prepared for it.